What is going on, everybody? Brent Abel here at GoldBallHunting.com. That young buck over there with the red roundies, the great Jeff Jacklich. Another episode of the Gold Ball Hunting Podcast. And we got a big time question today that we want to ask you. And if you know the answer to this question, you're going to start to win a lot more matches. So hang in there for the rest of this episode because I think you're going to love this one. So the big question is this: how are tennis players like us who never played in the tour, weren't incredible juniors, or maybe got a late start to the game, how do we consistently compete at our highest skill level without having to grind through endless hours of on-court practice time and still be in the hunt for victory match after match? That is the question, and Gold Ball Hunting gives you the answers by helping you eliminate your skill level range so that you build a strong foundation of confidence. My name is Brent Abel, and along with my biz partner Jeff Jacklich, welcome to Gold Ball Hunting. What's up with I don't know. Jeffrey, what's up today, my man? What's going on?
Beautiful day here in NorCal.
Wow.
Sunny, cool, classic fall day.
Nice.
October, here we are.
Yeah.
But it's still Indian summer. In my book, it's still Indian summer.
Very nice.
It's just beautiful.
Very nice. Yeah. Well, it's all relative in terms of what you think is beautiful. I mean, here it's snowing. It's 27 degrees, and
nice.
It's gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. I'm here in Steamboat.
Well, I can see you got the bundle on today.
Yeah. I got the little thing.
Grab tight today.
Right. No, Maya and I are in Steamboat Springs, Colorado, guys. If you haven't checked in with us for a while, we've been here for, almost a month. About 3.5 weeks, and it's going to be like this for the next 4 or 5 days, off and on. So when we're done recording this, Jeff, this is Sunday, the 20th of October.
20th.
Yeah. We're going to go out and do a little hike up Mount Warner and just slop it around.
Nice.
What am I saying? It's like champagne, that champagne snow, right? Just poof.
Right.
It's just
right. Can't make a snowball with it.
No.
Low.
You pick it up
content.
and it just goes through your fingers.
And of course, Skier's paradise.
Well, we went out to breakfast this morning. I'll give a little shout out to Freshy's restaurant in Steamboat Springs. They do breakfast and lunch only. They shut down by 2 o'clock every day. And what a great business to be in, right? You're done by whatever. Anyway, but it's here it is, Sunday. It's snowing. NFL, you're going to be a couple of games on. We got the 11 o'clock here, Mountain. We got the 2 o'clock. We got the 5:30 Sunday night. We got Mai doing the veggie chili. It's like, wow. Anyway, Fresh's restaurant. I went for the, what did I have this morning? Oh, I had the huevos rancheros.
Nice.
So I'll be definitely powering up Mount Warner here in a little bit. So, listen, guys, Jeff and I were chatting yesterday after we finished our recording yesterday. Talking about kind of the reality of what are we really doing here? We're really trying to help you guys win more of your matches. It's as simple as that. And, not only win those matches that you should be winning every time, because there's probably a few times, like if you're going to play those 10 matches where you should be winning it every time, but you're losing once or twice, or maybe you're losing one time and the other time you're going in a total, tension mode now. It's 5-all in the third. You're going, I beat this guy 1-0 like a month ago. What's going on here? And so we want to make sure that you are taking care of business in those matches when you should be winning those matches. Number 2, we want to make sure that you're winning more of the matches against the same skill level opponent moving forward, right? So if you're 50-50, winning 5-5 in 10 matches against the same exact skill level, we want to bump that winning percentage up. And then what we really want to talk about today is those players, and I got a story I want to share. And I'm Jeff, I'm sure that you've got one too as well. But when you're playing someone who's better, and typically what happens in leagues, in theory, assuming that the NTRP rating scale is accurate, is that if both opponents have the same rating label, and that's what leagues are supposed to do, right? In theory, to me, the USTA leagues are really, it's just kind of a glorified match arranging service. It's supposed to put you together with someone who's at exactly at your skill level. That's great. It should be that. But in tournaments, there's always this thing where you might, if you're like age group tournaments, for example, there's always a chance that someone's exactly your age, but is better. Is that kind of player that probably for a while you've never beaten that player. And I'm not saying the one type, but that same skill level for the last 10 times, right? And yet, Jeff, we know that there are moments during those matches against the top guys or gals when your game is all of a sudden it's up there, right there at that level with that player.
Right.
And you're playing. You're playing at that level and you're winning points and you're winning games and dang, you might even win a set. And and yet, well, here. So let me kind of tell you a story that happened to me. This was 20 years ago when I kind of I took some time off after the 35s. In the 40s and 45s and early part of the 50s, I was raising 3 kids and working, which is kind of typical, right in that age group where a lot of guys and gals. It's just time to raise kids and work. And so when I finally got back into it, I played the 50 hard courts in it wasn't in Santa Barbara then. It was in somewhere in LA, Huntington Beach. And a full round of 128. Hadn't played in a while.
Nice.
So I was not seated. And so I had to play a first round in the 128. And I get through, and I beat a couple seeds along the way. I had a really good win in the quarters. I mean, not in the quarters, in the round of 16 against the top seed. And then I got to play number 1 seed Brian Cheney in the quarters. So here I am. I've won 4 matches, and I'm at my 5th match, and I'm only in the quarterfinals. It's like, Brent, you're maybe halfway there, and that's about it. So, but at that time, I was not playing at Brian's level, and he was definitely top dog. And so I go out there not believing that I got a shot against this guy, and all I'm thinking is, well, I just don't want to be. I don't want to be embarrassed. Please, please do not let me lose love and love today. All right, this would be like. And so we play the first set, and it's close. I think it was 6-4, maybe 7-5, somewhere there, but it was close. And then we get to 3-all in the second set, and I'm just kind of waiting for the end to come. And the next thing you know is, boom, I've won the second set because now I finally at 3-all, I sort of stopped worrying about having to make myself play up to this guy's level. And I relaxed, and the next thing I knew, Jeff, is he had sort of pulled me up to his level by me just kind of relaxing and not trying to fight everything. And the next thing you know is I'm at his level now for maybe 20 minutes. And I close out the second set. Again, I can't remember if it was 6-3 or 6-4. And in between sets, the second or third, got my buddies who are over there going, whoa, man, come on, you can do this. You can do this. And I'm going, I can?
Right. You're still not convinced.
I'm not convinced. And so, sure enough, I start off the third set, and, I think I go down like 4-1 or something like that, just like that. Because now all of a sudden I'm thinking to myself, well, I've got to really play well. I have to play well, and I've got to do it, So, and I end up losing 6-3 in the third. My epiphany that day was, you played at that level. You played at the number 1 seed's level for, definitely there was a period of about 20 minutes where it was constant. And then for the rest of the match, 3-setter, there were fleeting moments where I'd be up at this guy's level. So the question, Jeff, and I think a lot of players, relative to their skill level, whether you're a 3-0, a 3-5, a 4-0, 4-5, 5-0 and above, whatever that player is that's better than you are. Well, you know that you've played up to that level before. Maybe it's only been a couple of points. Maybe it's been for a game. Maybe it's been for half a set.
Right.
Gosh darn it, maybe you even won a set. So the question, Jeff, is what do you think? Or maybe you've got a story. But the question I would ask someone who would come to me and say, well, come on, man, I can play up there. And I go, well, then what's holding you back?
So why aren't you?
Why don't you do it all the time?
Right.
And there's kind of that thing like, let's see. I know I can, stroke technique wise, obviously if I can play up there some of the time, the stroke technique must be good enough. So that's not it. So it's something else. It's something else. And to me, it's kind of like the next question is, well, the guy that so for me, it was Brian Chaney. Someone would ask me, well, Brent, what do you think Brian knows that you just haven't figured out yet?
Yeah.
And I go, oh my God, that's it right there. It's the curly
Right.
thing. What did you say? What'd you say about
it's Curly from City Slickers,
Yeah,
right?
right.
You gotta, what's the secret of life? Well, it's one thing.
Yeah.
Well, what is it?
Yeah.
Well, that's what you got to figure out.
That's right. Yeah.
So this is,
It's kind of the same deal here, right?
Oh, totally. And it's I think, everybody has everybody has a different story, and everybody has a different kind of, let's say, slightly, I would say, different methodology or comfort zone when they finally cross over. But I would say this, is that I think there is when you do finally cross over, and this is how it worked for me, is that in the matches like you're describing, and God, they seem like it's countless matches that, I lived in that stuck between the dock and the boat kind of lifestyle.
Right.
One or two rounds in the men's opens, and then kind of just instantly in one season went from 1 or 2 rounds to nothing less than a quarterfinal finish in anything I played during that time in NorCal, which was not blowing my own horn, but that was impressive. So,
well, I would, I think, if you want to share that story here, or maybe we do that tomorrow. But I think that would be a great story for you to, and in fact, let's reserve it for tomorrow, because I don't want you to kind of gloss over it. I want you to think about it from now until tomorrow, about really dig into it, about thinking about kind of what were some of the things that you did. Because it's not like, there's some tangible things that you must have done living between the boat and the dock, to where you either got on the boat or you got off the boat. I'm not sure which one, but in whatever direction you wanted to go. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
So yeah, I think that, that space is a really difficult space to be in, because it's filled with uncertainty, and it's filled with, let's say, kind of a fogged lens. There is no clarity, but there's a whole bunch of frustration, because you feel like you said, gosh, I played really well for a set. I pulled a set off, as a matter of fact, where I won the first set, and then I was out 2-2 or 1-1, just gone. I was no longer that player. I kind of I woke up, and so for me, the tangible is as I would circle back and then, review those matches, I realized that in the moments of being just purely just playing and playing freely, I was no longer hung up on the score, and I was no longer hung up on who I was playing.
Well, that to me is like the difference maker right there.
And so I was just simply executing and being, just being present and just executing and answering what was given to me, and then going to the next, just executing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, wow, I just won that first set 6-2 against this guy. I just kicked his ass.
It's just
You
belief.
know?
It's just belief. I think.
Yeah,
I think if someone was to ask me the question, well, what's holding you back from playing at that level all the time? I would hopefully say, well, it's just belief. I just don't believe that I can do that, which is like, okay, well, that's kind of a crazy answer because you've already demonstrated that you can play at that level. So what you're saying is you just don't believe that that's you.
Right. You don't believe that's you. Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. Yeah, it's kind of like deciding. It's like if you imagine yourself to be, I want to be this type of player, or I want to be this player. I want to be, and not pointing to somebody else, but these are the characteristics. This is the player I long to be. And then it's actually making that shift and deciding that is the player you are right now. It's bringing a future tense and making it in your belief system present tense. And then you actually start to walk differently, conduct yourself differently on the court because you have in your head a very clear vision of that player that you desire to be. And so, and I know it sounds very ethereal and very, woo-woo,
I don't
kind
think so.
of. But,
I think it's fascinating.
But it's a very tangible exercise to do because you will conduct yourself differently if you decide to be that person today, be that player today.
Yeah. Well, look, I think the other thing too is that you have to have some proof of concept at some point along the way, meaning that when you play up to that better player skill level, you have to understand that you sort of have to experience, well, this is what's going on. I'm actually playing at this level right now. And I don't want to say to people, well, look, because you ran over there and you hit the up the line ESPN 11 p.m. top 10 highlights, that's not what we're talking about.
No.
What we're talking about is not 1 point or one shot. What we're talking about is actually stringing together some points, some games, maybe even a set where you realize, golly, I mean, I can play at this level. So what's holding you back from believing that you can do that on a consistent basis? And for everyone, it's a different feeling, right? Everyone, it's a different way of getting there.
Yeah. Now here's something really interesting about that process and that thought. And that is this: if you've played a match like that you either won a set off of somebody you didn't think you could, or you played a series of 3 to 4 games where it was amazing, and then you sometimes we call it, then you woke up, is apparently the skill set you have right now can deliver the goods. That's the amazing thing here, I think. It's also an aspect of this that gets washed over, is that the assumption is there must be something else I need to add to my skill set. There must be something else I must need to do better. I have to be able to hit my forehand better. I must be able to serve better. Well, I don't know about that. We got to get to that point. Apparently the skill set you have right now allowed you in the right mental framework to actually get the job done for X amount of games or a set, or a set and a half.
But look, I mean, you and I were talking before we started the recording thing about how tough it is on players to realize that that you don't need to get a better forehand. You don't need to get a better serve. You first of all need to learn how to play at the very top of your skill level right now with the tools that you've got. And you need to learn how to be able to do that on a consistent basis. And what you're going to discover when you do that, when you stop thinking, well, I've got to go buy a course, or I got to go to a pro and ask them, can you show me the latest and greatest shiny object, which I think is going to be something, okay, well, I know I can't hit Rafa's forehand, but probably pretty close to it, right? And
sorry.
and so I want to tell players who are thinking that that's what they need to do, it's the classic, it's not your fault. And I mean that sincerely because the messaging out there is just so so over the top about stroke technique. And pros, I swear to God, Jeff, that the pros think that the way that they're going to look good is to teach what they think they see on TV as a way to help this player win more matches. And it just, I feel bad for all. There's just millions of tennis players out there trying to play the game, trying to win more matches by getting better at stroke technique. And it's like, it's a never-ending, well, that's what an annuity is, right? It just keeps paying you.
Right.
So the pros are going to keep teaching you guys over and over how to perfect stroke technique because you believe. They've got you believing that's how you're going to win more matches. Right. And so let's get down to the real questions here. Let's get down to the truth. So the number one guy in every age group, you know, you could ask someone, what does she know that you haven't quite yet figured out? And I guarantee it that you can take the number one player in that age group, and if you tell me, well, he's got a better stroke technique here, they're going to go, okay, well, let's take a look at it. And I go, doesn't look any better than yours, right? I mean, it looks to me like all he does is he just doesn't frickin' miss. And he knows where to place the ball over there to put you in trouble.
Right.
And
he doesn't care if you hit the ball back.
So I guess the bottom line here, guys, is that, look, if you're struggling with winning more matches, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that it's not your fault, that you are being sold a bunch of goods somewhere, that you need to improve stroke technique big time to be able to start to win those matches. And what Jeff and I want to impress upon you is that, and we talked about this, I think, a few episodes ago, is you got to start to learn how to play the game.
Right.
And gosh, I mean, I can't remember if I asked this question to you or if if I was asking this question before we started recording, Jeff. But how many players do you know out there in your age group, Jeff, who have mediocre, at best, stroke technique, and yet they're in the hunt for that frickin' gold ball every damn tournament that they enter, as opposed to how many players do you know out there who look just like $1 million
right.
and can't get through to the third round?
Right. We don't have enough time to list both categories.
Okay. So, look, guys, I guess we're going to get back to this. If you want to learn how to win more matches, and assuming that's why you're interested in hanging out with us, then that's what we want to help you do. And the best way to start is let's get on a free, private 15-minute coaching call, the three of us, and let's kind of dig in a little bit and see where you're at with your game, where you want to take it, and let's see if Jeff and I can't put together a quick little roadmap for helping you solve maybe the one thing right now that if you could kind of knock that big domino down, that the other little things might become irrelevant. And believe me, it's not going to be about stroke technique. Ouch. That might eliminate a lot of potential phone calls right there, Jeff. But seriously, if you guys want to win more matches, I don't care if it's singles or doubles, then that's what Jeff and I are here to do, and that's what we want to help you do. To get on that phone call, just go over to goalballhunting.com, drop in the first name and email address, click the button, and you get access to our online calendar scheduler, where you can pick a date and time that works best for you. If you're already on our email list, every one of the emails you get from us has got a link in there straight to the calendar scheduler. Jeff, any parting words of wisdom before I brave the snow and the and the lookout for the moose all morning long?
Yeah, all morning long. Yeah. No, I think we're time to get out of here because I mean, this subject's a broad subject. It's a large subject, so we're going to dive in again tomorrow with a little bit more.
Okay. Well, what do we want the fine folks to do right now?
Like us, share us, please subscribe. Let us know what you think down below. Share a little experience with us. When was the last time you played that match where maybe you pulled out the first set against a guy you didn't know or a gal you didn't think you could beat, and you did it, and then you stunk up the joint afterwards? We've all walked that road.
Oh, a million
We've
times.
all walked that road many times.
Right.
iTunes and Stitcher, rate and review. Goldballhunting.com. Spread the word.
Very nice. Guys, get out there today wherever you are. Help someone else have a spectacular day. Jeff, we're doing this again tomorrow.
Can't wait.